Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the CCA Corner. It has not been a minute. Keep you on your toes because we're actually getting back in the group and making episodes. Isn't that weird? So it's me, Mal, as usual. And as usual, once again, I am here with my buddy, my pal, old Badmouth.
Yo, happy Pride, guys.
Oh yeah, happy Pride. I should have started with that. That would have been a lot cooler.
I mean, like, it's the end of June, but it's still Pride.
Yeah, still a couple more days. All right. So, Morris, what are we doing here today? Because we had said that we were going to do a whole bunch of other shit, and I'm assuming by the title of this episode that you guys have realized we are not doing what we said we were going to do, as usual.
Yeah, it's almost like things just keep coming up because 2025 just needs to chill.
It's so we've got hands.
Yeah, 2025's got fucking hands. Mm-hmm. So we're doing an emergency heat episode. We had to shelve our other ideas. We had another brother pass down here in Dallas. I think within like a week of the anniversary of when Mr. Eugene Gates passed. That was Jacob J.T. Taylor at a branch 132, the Lone Star branch in Dallas. I have coworkers who came up with him. We're really upset down here. And then also we had Mr. Dan Workman in Grand Junction, Colorado, branch 913, passed from heat. Yeah, man, it sucks. This is a dangerous job, and it only keeps getting more dangerous. And we gotta be looking out for each other. We gotta be taking care of each other. So we called Naudible to do a safety sort of heat safety episode that you can listen to out on your route while you're hopefully taking care of yourself and each other, right? We got heat waves across the upper Midwest and the East Coast. That's only going to continue. So we're here. We're doing this. Mal, you got a disclaimer for us?
Yeah, standard disclaimer. I never really thought that we would have to do this disclaimer again after the last episode, but here we are. So we are not doctors.
Definitely
Keep that
not.
in mind. I have no medical degree. I have a business degree. That's the best you get from me. I do not have any kind of medical. Don't listen to me about medical stuff, please. I know that I talk about it some if you know me pretty well, but yeah, we're not doctors. We sourced a lot of this stuff, or rather, Morris sourced a lot of this stuff. My life has been insane this week. Morris did most of the work on this one, so y'all give him a nice pat on the back when you see him online or wherever. This was sourced from OSHA, from the CDC, the EPA, a bunch of government entities that are very hyper aware and vigilant when it comes to heat and making sure that the public is educated about the heat. There's also information from a bunch of carriers that Morris went through and compiled, but mostly places like Arizona and Florida and Texas, places where, you know, you're seeing this heat, you're feeling it, you know that this is important stuff. We got a lot of it from y'all.
Yeah, we got a lot of first people I went to when I was looking for tips and tricks was folk down here in Texas and Arizona, Florida, and like, because we deal with triple digits all year round. And some of this stuff, that we're going to have a whole list. Some of it is stuff that down here we don't even think about. We just do it every morning. And it might help you if you're up there in Detroit or, you know, Maryland or whatever.
Yep. So, all right. Well, with nothing else left to introduce and with all of our bases covered, my ducks in a row, let's get into it. Buckle up, guys, because we're going to have a lot of shit in here. You know, this isn't your mama's episode about heat. This is the real deal. We tried to do some research on this, and we've got a lot of stuff for you. So, Morris, kick us off. Go ahead.
All right. So we're going to get, before we get to all the tips and tricks, which is definitely what we're going to be the focus, we need to go over some basic guidelines and stuff. So like heat exhaustion. Like heat exhaustion, it's going to be one of the first things you notice. It's when it's your body's response to excessive loss of water and salt, usually through excessive sweating. Like your symptoms for that are headache, you'll get nauseous, dizzy, you'll feel a little weak, you'll be irritable, like more so than usual, I guess. You'll be thirsty, sweating a bunch, you'll have elevated body temperature. Sometimes you're going to realize fuck, I haven't taken a piss all day. Like stuff like that. Those are symptoms of heat exhaustion, right? So what do you do when you got those symptoms, right? Well, you're immediately going to go to the emergency room if that's the issue. You're going to call 911 if your care is not available. But you're gonna want someone to stay with you until help arrives, right? If that's the case, you're gonna get out of a hot area, drink a bunch of liquids, remove unnecessary clothing and shoes and socks. You're gonna get cool with a cold compress, and like if you can, put your head, face, neck under some cold water, and drink as much as you can. And that's heat exhaustion, right? We're not even getting to the big one yet.
Yeah, heat exhaustion. If you feel like you're getting to that point, you can stop it before it becomes worse, before it causes really, really bad symptoms. So make sure that you're being aware of the symptoms of heat exhaustion and you take appropriate measures to not only remedy it, but to also prevent it. So the next step after heat exhaustion is heat stroke. It's the most serious version of heat illness, and it occurs when the body can no longer control its temperature. When the body's temperature rises to that extreme high, the mechanism that causes your body to sweat does not work anymore, and therefore your body cannot cool down. So when heat stroke occurs, the body's temperature is anywhere from 106 to higher within 10 to 15 minutes. Heat stroke can cause permanent disability or death if you do not receive emergency treatment. It can cause brain damage. Like that, it's the kind of shit where if you have a fever as a child from being sick, it's that same thing. So symptoms of heat stroke is confusion, altered mental status, slurred speech, a loss of consciousness, or even going into a coma. Hot, dry skin, or profuse sweating. But eventually you will stop sweating. Having a seizure. It doesn't have to be a grand mal seizure. You could have mini seizures as well. Very high body temperature. And death. Death is a symptom of heat stroke, unfortunately. So first aid, things you need to know. Especially if you're having, seizures and loss of consciousness and confusion and mental issues, call 911.
Yeah, that's one of the first things I notice is I get foggy. Like if I'm getting in that danger zone, I get more spacey than usual. It's scary.
Mm-hmm. When I get to the point where I'm about to crash out, I start to get irritable. Once I start crying in the heat, I know that I'm done. When I get to the point where I'm like, I cannot do this anymore, tears are going down my face, I know that I'm done. I'm going to go cool off because otherwise it's going to get a lot worse. I have pushed through that and it has not paid off. So call 911. If it's somebody else, stay with them until emergency help arrives. You need to go to a shaded and cool area and remove as much clothing as possible without being naked. Try to cool down. A cold water or an ice bath if you can do that. Just getting cooler liquid on your skin because your sweat's obviously not helping you. Something cooler needs to help. So cold cloths. You can pour water on the clothes that you are wearing. Circulating air around the person to try to get the air moving around them. And then just trying to get the area around the skin as cooled off as possible. We're going to talk later about different points on the body that you can place cooling things to help to lower your body temperature. We'll get into that later. But yeah, essentially that's heat stroke and it's not fun. Morris, we got some more heat things that are medical.
Some of the stuff, like we hear about heat stroke and heat exhaustion, we have those placards that they're giving out and whatever. Some of the less talked about ones, there's rhabdo. I practiced this in the mirror so many times. Mallory, can you help me out with this pronunciation?
Rhabdomyolysis.
Rhabdomyolysis, or rhabdo. Well, that's a medical, this is something that might happen to you if you go through these other things. It's a medical condition associated with heat stress and prolonged physical exertion, i.e. being a letter carrier in the summer. Rhabdo causes rapid breakdown, rupture, and death of a muscle. That's kind of the main thing. When muscle tissue dies, electrolytes and large proteins are released into your bloodstream. This can cause irregular heart rhythms, seizures, and damage to the kidneys. So, like, this is an extra sort of thing on top of those others. Symptoms of this are muscle cramps and pain, abnormally dark tea or cola-colored urine, weakness, exercise intolerance, and you might have this shit and be asymptomatic as well. Your first aid to that is to stop activity, drink more liquids, seek immediate care for the nearest medical facility, and this might be something, if you go down in the heat, you might ask your doctor anyway to be checked for rhabdomyolysis. Damn it. Rhabdo. Just call it rhabdo. But that's one of the ones. The other one is heat
Hang on. Fun fact. Rhabdomyolysis is what Dr. House had in House MD. That's why his leg is all fucked up.
Oh, I did not know that. Mm-hmm. I do love a good pop culture reference. Well, now I'm second guessing myself on how to pronounce this one too.
Syncope.
Heat syncope. Thank you, Mal. Heat syncope is a fainting episode or dizziness that usually occurs when standing for too long or suddenly standing up after sitting or lying. Factors that contribute to heat syncope include dehydration, lack of
acclimatization.
Thank you. Oh my God. I swear to God. When we get to the medical list, this is going to be great. So yeah, that's like, I mean, when I almost went down, I definitely was on the edge of fainting. Like, it's something to watch out for. Also, like, a common one is heat cramps. Yeah, heat cramps affect workers who sweat a lot during strenuous activity or being a letter carrier in the summer. This sweating depletes the body's salt and moisture levels. We all know that. Low salt levels can cause painful cramps. Heat cramps may also be a symptom of heat exhaustion. Avoid salt tablets. We're going to talk about electrolytes in a little bit. Salt tablets are not it, right? That's where I got, Mal.
So a few things also that I kind of wanted to touch on. The Postal Service has the Heat Illness Prevention Program. We are not going to go in depth on the Heat Illness Prevention Program. If you were not around last year for the HIP shit that went on, ooh, it was fun, but no, I don't want to rehash all that. So if you're unsure what that is, check out the From A to Arbitration episodes on heat illness and the HIP. I will link those in the description. You can also go to the NALC's website and find the Heat Illness Prevention Program. But yeah, we're going to leave that there. It's a thing that they're supposed to be doing. Post office is supposed to take care of you. Whatever. So what I wanted to do was talk about heat itself, like kind of the science of it. The most recent bout of heat, and kind of what happened there, it was a heat dome. Heat domes happen when strong, high-pressure atmosphere conditions remain stationary for like a really long time, an unusual amount of time. And it prevents convection and precipitation, and it keeps the hot air trapped in a region. It creates a cap that prevents convection from occurring, and convection is like storms. So without the convection, without the storms happening, little or no rain can form, and that means that no low pressure systems are coming in to sweep the high pressure away, and therefore the heat's just going to stay in the area, and that cap just stays there, and it's just hella hot.
It's like being trapped in a toaster oven.
Yeah. And that's Just like the science of it is just that it's the battle between high pressure and low pressure systems. That's what weather is. If you don't know this about me by now, you're about to learn I am a weather nerd, really bad. So any chance I get to talk about the weather, it kind of makes me happy. So I want to talk about temperature. I want to talk about heat index, and I want to talk about wet bulb shortly, because wet bulbs a lot. But temperature is the fundamental measure of how hot or cold something is, expressed on a scientific scale. Temperature is fixed. It is unaffected by humidity. It is absolute. It is either 80 degrees or it is 20 degrees, but it is not affected by anything other than what temperature it actually is. Heat index, however, is affected by other stuff, specifically relative humidity, which is how much liquid can be in a parcel of air at one time, and it's measured by a percentage. So if you have a higher relative humidity, there's more water in the air. So when you combine the temperature with the amount of water in the air, it makes a heat index, and that's more of what the quote-unquote feels like is. So if you ever like pull up your weather app, whatever one you use, I know there's 80 million, and it shows you a feels like it says temperature's 90, but feels like 105. That's factoring in the relative humidity. And
yeah, right now it says it's 92 right here, but it feels like 96.
Mm-hmm. And that's because it's factoring
that's the
in
difference?
Yep. It's factoring in the relative humidity to create a heat index, and that's the feels like. So heat index itself is split into 4 different categories. If you ever look at the heat index chart, there's a caution, extreme caution, danger, and extreme danger. And when you start getting into those darker reds on that chart, you need to be making sure that you're hydrated. Wet bulb. I don't want to get into this too awful much. If you want to talk about wet bulb, DM me and we can talk about the science of it. But wet bulb is a forecast tool that indicates expected heat stress on the human body in direct sunlight by estimating the effect of temperature, relative humidity, wind speed, and sun radiation on people. It's super important for outdoor workers. The military uses it, OSHA uses it, a bunch of other groups use it. I won't go too hard into wet bulb because it is so hard to explain, and it's probably boring to 95% of you. But if your local weather dude, your weather weenies that post on Facebook about the weather are talking about wet bulb, you need to be paying attention because wet bulb is serious. If you've got wet bulb issues going on, that means that there's gonna be insane heat. You already have a way to get watches and warnings on your phone if you have the little built-in weather app that comes on your phone. So yeah, you can do that. But there's other resources that I'd like to talk about real quick. If you go to weather.gov, right when you load that page, that's the National Weather Service's website. Click on the map wherever you are, and it's going to take you to the homepage for your local weather office. So like, I live in Western Kentucky. My National Weather Service office is Paducah, Kentucky, and Paducah issues like weather stuff every day. Every single day you can go on there and see what's going on, and it's going to be the most accurate weather stuff that you can find because it's the National Weather Service. There's other apps too. There's Weather Underground, Weather Channel, whatever you want to use for watches and warnings. You can do that too. The FEMA app also gives watches and warnings. But that's going to help you to keep in mind if there's like a heat advisory or excessive heat warnings. You know, just have a way to get those warnings. I'm a big stickler on have a way to get warnings because I'm a big weather nerd. You know, I'm watching all these tornadoes that have been happening. Tornadoes have been insane this year. So, yeah. It's also worth mentioning, just a quick tidbit, air quality can affect your intolerance to heat. So if the air is shit and you can't breathe, you might not be dealing with the heat as well as if the air was like, you know, forests in the upper Midwest, you know? So, that's my tidbit about weather and science.
Oh, yes.
We're going to go into what to do in an emergency. So we kind of touched on this a little bit already. But in the event of any emergency, especially having to do with heat, but, you know, anything really, you're going to stop working. Don't keep working. Don't let them know. If your life is in danger or if you are hurt, you're not going to keep working. The fuck? You're going to contact 911 if it's necessary.
Oh, I just want to say, because our brother we just lost, and brothers and sisters and theys and thems we've lost over the years. Me personally, if I have to spend more than 4 seconds trying to decide should I call 911, I'm fucking calling 911. Don't try to be a tough guy. Just if it's a question, call. Post office will pay for the ride. We would rather you be alive and hydrate it under supervision than be a tough guy and end up on someone's lawn. Like that's the reason we're doing this episode. If it's a question, call.
And if you're unsure, if you're like, well, I don't know if if the post office doesn't cover this, and which they will, but if you're questioning a ride in the wee woo wagon, maybe call somebody that you trust. Call your parents or your spouse or your child or your union steward or your best friend, or call somebody and ask somebody else for advice if you're not sure, especially if you have some of the symptoms that I'm about to talk about. Because if you are unsure if you need to contact 911, symptoms like dizziness, confusion, profuse vomiting, fainting, seizures, memory loss, those kind of symptoms warrant seeking immediate medical attention, because those kind of symptoms mean that you are having neurological symptoms. Something is happening, that the heat is affecting your brain. Your brain, You only get one brain, you only get one heart. You can't replace your brain. You can replace your heart. It's hard, but medical science has gotten to that point, but you cannot replace your brain. You have to take care of your brain. Any mental symptoms, seek medical attention, please. So, you've decided you're going to call 911. Or you've decided that you just need to go cool down. You're going to contact your immediate supervisor. I don't know if you guys at your offices do text messaging or if you use the scanners. Either way, you need to contact them. Now, granted, if you do it on the scanner, then it's going to go up to HQ, and everybody's going to find out that you had heat illness, and there will be a level of accountability there. But, you don't have to. If your office is like text messaging and stuff, should something ever happen, you got screenshots, right? Also contact your union steward. Say, hey, I'm ill. And maybe they give you advice. Maybe they just take note of it. Maybe they come and check on you. Whatever your union steward feels the need to do to protect you in that moment, they will do. So after that, you are going to find a shaded or air-conditioned area to await help, or just to cool down. If you need a heat break, you can take as many heat breaks as you want.
You know who approves my rest breaks? Me. That's who approves my rest breaks.
Well, I don't approve your rest breaks.
Well, no one can approve my rest breaks, but me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So take your breaks. Make sure your buddies are taking their breaks.
Yep. So when you go to that air-conditioned area that I was talking about a minute ago on your non-approved rest break, because it's whenever the fuck you need to take a heat break, you need to enter air conditioning carefully, because you can shock your system if you go from hot to cold that quickly. If you go from 105 degrees outside straight indoors to a 20-degree beer cooler, you could shock your system. So take it slow, take it easy, especially if you have symptoms of heat illness. Additionally, if you start drinking water after you start noticing symptoms, sip it. Do not chug it. And to be completely frank, sometimes in situations with heat illness, it might be more beneficial to drink like a lukewarm water and not a freezing cold water, because it'll shock your system. You have to take care of your system. It once it's out of balance, you have to gently bring it back. So just be aware of that. So Morris.
Yo.
You want who are we talking to here?
Okay, so we got one more definition heavy long thing before we get to our tips and tricks, so just bear with us, guys. But this one was important. So who needs to watch themselves in the heat? You, bitch. And then also, sorry, but especially if you have certain conditions or take certain meds. That's our next section. Because, like, I've been down in Texas for, almost 3 years at this point. But this is the first summer I've been in Texas where I've had my medications that I need, right? So this is my first Texas summer. I survived the last 2 summers. I handled it. It sucked, but I handled it. This summer, I got to be a lot more careful because I am on antipsychotics and antidepressants and some blood pressure meds. And dealing with the heat now is way more dicey than it was last summer. So I got to be very, very, very careful about that. And I'll go over some of the medications and conditions first. But like Mal, do you have what's your testimonial with that?
Oh, I've had heat illness quite a few times. Like I said earlier, I know where my breaking point is because I start to cry. Like straight up, I will just start crying. And when I get to the point where I'm crying, I'm like, all right, it's time to go. I need to go find somewhere. I need to go chill the fuck out because I am so stressed out that I'm literally stressed out. Like my body is so stressed that my mind begins to become stressed.
Do you continue delivering the mail till you come to a stopping point, or do you rubber band that shit and take care of yourself?
I did once as a young buck that didn't
That's
know
not what
any
we're
fucking
supposed
better.
to do, Mal.
I know, and I threw up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not good. So don't push yourself, guys. We don't do that no more. Okay. So I've had heat illness a few times. I've went back to the office and just laid on the cold floor for 20 minutes, and then management kept coming to check on me. I'm like, just give me a little bit longer. Give me a little bit longer. And then once I'd cooled off, I was like, all right, I'm going back. And I was fine. Sometimes that's all you got to do. I've broken out in heat rash before. That was not fun. At one point, I was on doxycycline. It's an antibiotic. We'll get into it in a second. And it one of the things that it does is it makes you more susceptible to sunburn and like UV rays and stuff.
Yep.
It caused me such a bad sunburn. I had sunscreen on everywhere, except for places where you can't have sunscreen. So I sunburnt underneath my fingernails.
Jesus, that's fucking weird.
Oh yeah, it was. I was.
Sucks.
My fingernails started to change color. I didn't know what was going on. They started to turn yellow. They started to hurt, and then they started to try to peel off.
Oof.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Be mindful of your medications. Check them.
Yeah.
I also have hyperthyroidism. I get hot easy because my thyroid runs faster than most people's. We get really bad heat in Kentucky. Like I know you always think about like the deep south, but like the mid south, we get it too. It's not a dry heat here. It is humid. Like the humidity earlier was 77%. It sucks. It sucks here.
It's like walking through soup.
It is. It dead ass is. Sometimes it feels like you just got out of the swimming pool and you haven't been near a swimming pool. Like it sucks out here, dude. It's bad. But all right, you ready to talk about some medicines that you probably can't pronounce?
Yeah, that I probably can't pronounce. Okay, so I'm gonna go through. This is. I promise you guys, this is our last like definition heavy thing, and then we're gonna get to all the tips and tricks you beautiful bastards sent us. Right.
This list is probably not exhaustive. There are
not at
probably
all.
other medications that are heat contraindicated. So keep that in mind. This isn't exhaustive, but it's a lot of them that are main ones,
Yeah, these are the ones I looked up from the CDC. We have, all of our sources we'll put in the show notes. If you are on a medication at all, you need to talk to your doctor and ask them if there's heat-related side effects to it. One of mine I take makes me sweat too much. One of mine I take makes me not sweat enough. I don't know whether I'm coming or going when it comes to the heat. It sucks. So talk to your doctor. But here is a not exhaustive but really long list we're going to tackle, and then we'll get into the tips and tricks. So heart medications. If you're on blood pressure, clot prevention, or blood thinners like diuretics, which are water pills, I'm just going to list off some of the common ones, common name brands. There's Lasix, Hydrating, Microzide, Hydroduryl. If you're on beta blockers like Lipressor or Teramin or Coreg. If you're on ACE inhibitors like Zestril. If you're on angiotensin 2 receptor blockers.
Angiotensin.
I should have just read I should have just read the acronym. ARBs like Cozar or Diovan. If you're on antiplatelets like Plavix, those have heat-related shit. Talk to your doctor.
You did pretty good on those.
Hey, thanks, bruv. Okay, if you're on antidepressants like me, for like depression and anxiety, I'm on SSRIs. If you're on SSRIs like Celexa, Lexapro, Prozac, Paxil, or Zoloft, I can pronounce all these because I've said them too many times. Or if you're on serotonin, norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, SNRIs, I'll just start doing that, like Cymbalta or Effexor. If you're on tricyclic antidepressants like Elevin or Pamelor, talk to your doctor. Watch the heat. If you're on antipsychotics for bipolar or schizophrenia, I take Zoloft. That has heat-related side effects. Zoloft is antidepressant. I take Seroquel. That's a antipsychotic that has heat-related things. If you are on ADHD meds, like and it doesn't even need to be an amphetamine-based ADHD med, but if you take Adderall, that increases your heart rate, and that can cause heat-related side effects. If you are on
anticholinergics.
Thank you. Anticholinergics, which is generally prescribed for Parkinson's or people with an overactive bladder. Sometimes it's given to people who are on water pills to kind of counteract that. That can cause things. Antihistamines, which I think most of us are on because of bug bites and fucking allergies.
Pollen.
Yeah, pollen. That can cause heat-related things. So can decongestants like cold medicine. You already brought up antibiotics or antiretrovirals, or those can cause kidney damage. They can make you more susceptible to kidney damage when you're dehydrated. And let's face it, no matter how much water you drink in the summer, you are going to be borderline dehydrated no matter. So,
and additionally, antibiotics, antiretrovirals, dopaminergics have contraindications against UV exposure sometimes. That's what I was talking about with the doxy. Yeah.
Yep. So that's not just heat, that's a sun too. So yeah, and if you have certain cancers and cancer treatments, those also put you at risk for dehydration because your body's using up and expelling more moisture than baseline. And then other medical conditions from that exhaustive list, we have diabetes. If you have diabetes, I hope you're talking to your doctor to talk about this. Obesity, that's an issue. If you have an infection of some kind, because you're probably taking antibiotics again. If you have skin disorders like emphysema, or not emphysema, that's lung. Sorry, eczema or psoriasis, you already know the sun sucks for that. That can be a thing. If you have sickle cell trait, that can be it. Cardiovascular, we already touched on that. If you are a drunk and have alcohol use, or if you're not admitting to that yet, and you just have alcohol use disorder, that obviously is a problem. Hyperthyroidism, I think Mal touched on that already. That's a problem in the heat. And I think the big one for me that surprised me was if you've had a heat illness before an episode, that can make you way more susceptible to have it happen again. So be aware of all of that. So that is our not at all exhaustive, but still long conditions and medication list. I will post all of this shit in the show notes along with all of our sources and shit. Was there anything you want to add, Mal, before we get on to our tips and tricks and the gear list?
It's definitely not exhaustive because, like you said, the other medical conditions. I'm just looking at the list. Obesity. I mean, being underweight as well can cause you to have heat illness indications, and then hyperthyroidism. It doesn't mention hypothyroidism, but hyper and hypothyroidism are an imbalance of the thyroid gland, which is related to your endocrine system and your pituitary and like all of the stuff that have to do with your hormones. Your hormones being imbalanced can cause all kinds of shit to be wrong with you, including issues with the heat. So it's not just hyper, it could be hypo as well. Could be Graves' disease, could be Hashimoto's, but whatever. That's just me being a nerd.
Yeah.
All right,
that's all right. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. I have my little special interests, and all of them are getting touched on this episode.
Oh yes.
Okay, so let's talk about stuff and things. We're gonna be what's it called when you're like really big into stuff?
Techie.
No.
Brand whore. No, wait.
No.
Hype beast.
No.
I'm trying to think of all the. I'm 40 years old. I don't know why you're asking me.
It doesn't matter. I was just trying to say that we're going to talk about stuff. I'm thinking monetize, but that's not right.
A materialist?
Materialist. That's it. We're going to talk about material things for a moment. Thanks, Morris. You tickled my brain there. So there's some things that you can get from management that you can ask your management to purchase from you. If you're not aware of that, you can go to, postalproducts.com or something?
Yeah, I meant to write that down. Someone sent me that, and I can't for the life of me find it. But they got a whole gear list that they can order for your station, and a lot of things are on this list are already on that they can order for you if you bother them enough.
Postalproducts.com is the community, outsiders version of eBuy. If you know what eBuy is, that's where management buys all their shit. Management has to be approved to buy off of eBuy. But postalproducts.com has everything on eBuy. So you can look and see all the stuff that management can buy. But some of the things that they can buy are like an ice machine. They can buy ice. They can buy water. They can get y'all electrolyte powders or Gatorade or liquid IV or Pedialyte in like powder form or liquid form. I'm gonna also
all those come in clutch.
Yeah. I'm also going to cut in and say, if management won't buy you this stuff, then make a motion at your branch meeting and see if your union will. Because my branch buys Gatorade and Freezy Pops for all of the offices in our branch. So, just
you can also buy it yourself, hand them a receipt, and then grieve them not paying you back for it. That's how I got toilet paper at Glencrest the one time.
Yeah, but that's the toilet paper thing, yeah. Freezy Pops, maybe water?
In a heat wave, I like to frame any request for this sort of stuff. Frame it as if it's fucking safety gear. If it's 101 degrees outside and you don't have an ice maker at your station, frame it as if having ice is safety gear, the same as a reflective vest.
Yeah, and I would say you could do that. You could do that with like ice and water. Don't try to pull that with like Freezy Pops.
Yeah, you got
liquid IV, liquid IV, the most expensive water additive for summer. Like don't try to pull that on that shit. Just
you got to pick your battles.
Yeah. Ice machine though, I will say I tried to get my office to get approved for an ice machine, and management was like, I'll put a request in. But I know of 3 offices in our area who've been requesting an ice machine for years, and they couldn't do it. So after a safety talk one morning, I was like, hey, would you guys want to throw in with me and get an ice machine, and it just be our ice machine that we paid for, all of us, so that we can have ice? And everybody's like, fuck yeah. Everybody threw me like $20-$30. The postmaster threw $100, I think, 150, 100, something like that. But he threw the most, because he knew that management wouldn't be able to get us a fucking ice machine. So he threw in on our thing to get an ice machine. And now we have an ice machine. And the clerks and supervisors will empty it during the day and put it in the freezer of the fridge. And we just have ice. It's nice. Okay, anyway. Something else you can do for management. You can try to request earlier start times. Good luck.
Yep.
But it's a thing you can do. You can certainly try. You can request cooling towels or like head wraps, like the frog tog things. My postmaster gets us a new frog tog every year. But I also have a lot nicer of postmaster than most people do. So, sunscreen, they can provide you sunscreen. They can
down here they supply us with cooling towels and sunscreen every summer.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they do here as well. A floppy wide brim hat. Okay, Morris, wasn't there like a few more things on this list? What am I missing?
Daisy Dukes. I don't know if they'll pay for it.
You can try.
But me, I went down to the union hall and got a pair of shorts and then just cut them extra short because I might not got an ass, but I got nice legs. So sky's out, thighs out, baby.
Queen shit. right. So that's the stuff management can get you. What can you get yourself? If you're, brand new CCA, you're like, what should I get for the summer? Here we go, boys and girls and non-binary pals. Unfortunately, in a lot of places, you're probably going to have to get your own ice. It sucks. Fun fact though, I just thought of this out of nowhere recently, randomly. I know you guys know I just had surgery. I had to get ice packs for myself to put on my shoulder after I had surgery. And I paid for those with my flexible spending account. So, medical equipment, if you have the flexible spending account, you could, do that. But just an idea. Coolers.
Frame all of this as safety gear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep hammering that home.
Yep. Because this stuff will keep you safe. A cooler. There are so many different kinds of coolers. You could get a hard cooler. You could get a soft cooler. You could get a big cooler. You could get a little cooler. Preferably not a little cooler, though, because you need to have enough to drink. If you can't afford a cooler, try going to a secondhand store. Go to a Facebook Marketplace. Whatever you need to do. I don't know if you put it on here. I also have the water jug. Big old Coleman.
Oh, I didn't put water jugs.
Yeah. The Coleman or the Igloo water jugs, whatever, the big ones. I got mine from Walmart. It's the one with the little hooks on the handle of it. It's meant to be used, the hooks for like kids playing sports. It's meant to be hooked on the fence. So it just hangs there off of the ground. It hangs perfectly on an LLV tray. It's great.
That's awesome.
So I highly recommend that one. So after that, clothing. You want to make sure whatever clothing you get that's outside of your uniform is lightweight. I personally do not wear any extra clothing because I can't stand it. I can't stand peeling clothes off of myself at the end of the day whenever I get home. I'm an outlier. I know a lot of people will wear like a long sleeve Under Armour, Columbia, something underneath to wick the sweat and help cool you down. It's your personal preference. But like
everyone at my station wears the long sleeve on their legs and their arms.
Yeah, like that's personal preference, but I can't stand the feeling of it. But I'm also, weird. But getting those kinds of options to put underneath it, they're worth it, but they're a little expensive. If you can get them from a secondhand store or something similar like that, then great. So Murphy out of Florida, he says that underarm name brand ones are 100% worth the money. They'll last you a couple years. So you have Murphy's approval on Under Armour. Cole, our editor, who we love dearly, he stands by Columbia. He said he really likes them. I mean, whatever you got to do, man. You can probably find some at your local Goodwill or secondhand store or whatever you support. Other stuff like rash guards, cooling sleeves, cooling vests. I have a buddy who just bought a cooling vest off of Amazon. He said it changed his life. The only thing he doesn't like about it is how cold his nipples get.
That sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Extra socks. Morris, you want to talk about your sock thing?
Oh, dude. So when it's super hot, and this seems like common sense, your feet are going to get hot. You're going to sweat through your socks. And it sucks doing that day in and day out. You can only afford so many boots, but you can afford a lot of new socks. I always bring a pair of dry socks with me. On a super hot day on my lunch break, I will park my LLV under a tree, and I will take an empty tub, pour some ice and water in that, take my boots, peel my sweaty socks off, stick my fucking dogs in that ice water, and just chill like a proper trailer park kid for a second. And then put dry socks on and finish the rest of my day. And because the last thing you need is to be getting swamp foot without ever actually getting your boots wet from anything other than your damn sweat.
Fair enough.
I know that's probably gross, but like it works, and that will cool you down quick because You have a lot of blood vessels in your feet and not a lot of meat to get between them and the ice cold water. It'll cool your core temperature down really fast and make life bearable in the heat.
Okay, so a little bit to talk about fans. They have the fans that go around your neck. They have the fans that are on your waist, like they clip on to like your belt area and then shoot air into your shirt. And then they have like general use fans. Like there's 9-volt battery ones that plug into your cigarette lighter in your truck. There's ones that are battery powered or rechargeable, and you just clip them somewhere. Any of those fans would be great.
Yeah, a lot of you'll find a lot of good general use options in the hardware section of like whatever your hardware store is that will use the same batteries as your power tools. So you can buy a Milwaukee one that uses the same battery as your Milwaukee drill or your DeWalt drill. If you got the money to spend on them, they're super, super convenient.
Some of you, specifically like men, probably won't want to do this. However, ladies, if you go to Dollar Tree, right at the checkout area, they have those like oriental hand fans with the like pretty patterns on them and stuff. I shit you not, I have 3 of them. They are awesome if you have nothing else.
If you're a dude and scared of that shit, I'm sorry, bro, but the heat does not recognize gender. So
yeah.
Grab yourself a fucking fan.
Yeah, the heat's not going to tell you that your dick is small. So go get a fan.
It works way better than that AARP magazine.
Yeah, I promise. It really does. And you know, sometimes they have different colored ones, so you don't have to get like a girly one. You could probably get one on like Amazon that's not, you know, girly.
I'm gonna get a real tree one.
Yeah, you could. I mean, shit, you could probably get a custom made one on Etsy, like with the post office logo on it or something, or the NALC logo, or like
support
your favorite
your local
band.
artist.
Yeah,
support your local artist.
Whatever you got to do, man. Okay, so miscellaneous stuffs. Towels. I personally say you need to have 6 or 7 of the cooling towels. That way you can have a fresh one every single day. Because after you use them suckers start to stink. Them's are stinky towels, let me tell you. So try to have one for every day that you work. If not more than that, because they still start to stink like halfway through the day sometimes. Just it's something to like wipe the sweat off of your eyes, because it's going to drip into your eyes, and it's sweaty and it's salty and it's going to burn your eyes. It's going to sting. It sucks. Yep. I don't wear makeup in the summer for this reason. Morris, this says that you carry a beach towel and wet wipes.
Yeah, you gotta carry wet wipes. Baby wipes or dude wipes, depending on which one's cheaper. Sometimes, again, toxic masculinity. You need the ones with the diamond print on them, but those are the same as the fucking cheap ass baby butt wipes. Those are helpful to make you feel more human throughout the day. And I carry a beach towel with me just because down here I'm sweating from 7 o'clock in the morning until I take my shower when I get home at night, and I need to keep the sweat out of my eyes so I can see what I'm doing. So having a dry towel that is specifically there to dry versus be wet is a good call.
Another option outside of like the baby wipes. Yeah. If you shop at Walmart, go to the makeup section. There are makeup remover wipes. They're a little purple package. Bottom shelf. They are cheap as fuck. They're like $1 for 30 of them. So that also is an option if you're on the cheap. So just saying. Other stuff. Baby powder, anti-chafe balm, anything to help them thighs or pits or belly or whatever,
regardless of gender.
yeah, you rub in the summer, and it happens, and sometimes you need some baby powder. Get some, it's worth it. You could get a mister or like a water gun or a hand sprayer or whatever you got. Reminds me, one of the carriers at one of my offices keeps a water gun in the summer to spray kids on his route because they started spraying him.
Yeah.
So he has water gun fights with kids.
There's a family on my route where the kids think it's really funny to turn the sprinkler system on me every day, and I pretend like I hate it, so they keep doing it, and it's honestly the highlight of my day. I'm like, awesome. Oh no, how could you again?
Oiled again. I had a mister there for a while. It was like a fan on top of like a water reservoir, and you could like spray it, but like the thing messed up and it stopped spraying. But it was nice when it worked. So yeah, if you want to get one of those, hey, it might be nice.
Yeah.
Painkillers for heat headaches. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you my personal opinion on this one. Morris might have a different opinion. I personally believe that if you have a headache that is related to the heat, you should be taking Tylenol, aka acetaminophen. Because if you are taking an NSAID, an NSAID, like ibuprofen or naproxen or Advil, they are going to thin your blood, which if you have heat illness that develops into something like heat stroke, having thinner blood may not be the best thing for you in that moment. If you
I just learned something. Learned something.
If you have a weaker connections with your blood vessels, you could pop a brain bleed. Absolute worst case scenario, you could have an aneurysm. So I personally recommend, if you've got something going on with your head, to take acetaminophen or Tylenol and not an NSAID. But that's just me.
Good call. That's a good call.
If you get blisters, then make sure you got some Band-Aids on you. I keep Band-Aids on me 24/7, but that's also because I'm an anxious chewer. So, and
if you're swapping out socks like I was talking about earlier, you want Band-Aids for that.
Wait, really? Some carriers keep metal spoons in their coolers to put on their temples and eyes?
Yeah, it brings the swelling down on your eyes. I had an ex who would keep them who had bad allergies, and it'd bring the swelling down on their eyes. And then I started doing it, and it helps a lot. I have very sensitive eyes, and also because of sweat, and then also because of allergies, it brings the puffiness in your eyes down, and also that cold metal right up against your temples will help clear your head pretty well when the heat's getting to you.
We cry tough.
Yeah, it can bring down swelling, puffy eyes from allergies or crying or whatever. But remember, crying is a street function, and we cry tough. Don't let management see that; they're bastards.
Yeah, crying is a street function. That's 100% true. Last tip, and then I will be done with my hella long section, and we'll get into another hella long Morris section. But don't drink on a school night.
No.
Preferably don't drink during the summer if you can help it. I just if it's summer and I know I'm going to be out in the heat, I'm not going to drink unless I know that I have 2 days to recover from it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not worth it because you are going to be far more dehydrated the next day from the alcohol in your system. Do not drink on a school night. Do not drink on a night where you have to go to work and work in the 100-something degree heat the next day. Please. You are making yourself more susceptible to heat illness. So, all right. Is that about it for gear, goodies, and materials?
There's so many different types of gear you can get. I think we hit most of them. And we offer cheap options. There are super fancy options, but let's get into just the tips and tricks. This is the tips and tricks for staying cool to fight the heat before you're overcome with it. Some of this stuff, most of this is coming straight from carriers down here who deal with 100-degree temperatures all the time. Some of it is stuff that we deal with all the time. So we put this together. First, we're going to tackle liquids, right? So water and water temp. So your manager tells you a lot of stupid bullshit. One of the things they tell you that isn't bullshit is to start hydrating the night before, right? I hate drinking water, but I drink probably about 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons a day. It feels like a homework assignment sometimes, but if I drink a bunch of water the night before, it's less of a homework assignment the next day. So
I'm so glad you said that. I fucking hate drinking water.
Yeah,
like
it feels like a homework assignment.
Yeah, if it's regular ass water, I almost can't do it unless I need to drink water.
Yeah.
So I went through a phase where I was squeezing a lemon and putting stevia into water to make it better so that I would actually drink it.
Well, yeah, I'm going to get to some of that. Another one that's good like that, if you don't like lemon or you're bored with lemon, is you can cut up a fresh cucumber and throw that in your water jug. That helps. I don't even like cucumber, but it just changes it enough to where it feels like I'm drinking something other than my homework. So one of the things, drink as much as you can between swings. Like all of my walking, I have made sure, and we'll talk a little bit about Red Book stuff later, but I've made sure that my route, all my walking is in the morning. It's still hot as balls down here, but it's not the hottest part of the day. But at 9:30 or at 10:30 in the morning, I am chugging ice. I'm drinking ice cold water, right? But I'm also taking a big slug of room temperature lukewarm water before my swing, and then even if I don't feel like I need it after the end of my swing, I take another slug before I go to my park point. Always, never not be H2Oing, never not be drinking water. Cold water is going to lower your temperature, right? And it's more refreshing. It's more pleasant to drink. Lukewarm water, I didn't look up the science on this, but like every coach I've ever had in my life, they don't put ice in the water. I don't know if it was because they were being cheap or what, but they all said that your body absorbs water at if it's a closer temperature to your body temperature, your body will absorb it faster. I don't know how true that is, but just to be safe, I do both.
Well, it more has to do with the shock that it does to your body whenever you're already that hot. Because water is absorbed, or liquids are absorbed in the small and the large intestine, and by the time that the water has hit your small and large intestine, it has more than likely become closer to your body temperature. The villi in your intestines don't give a shit what temperature the water is.
Okay, well that's good. You learn something new every day. So I want to get to electrolytes because water is a fucking chore sometimes. I almost went down my first summer down here in Texas. I drank over 1 gallon. And I was having a really hard time. I almost had to go to the hospital for it. And one of my fellow CCAs gave me a little, it was an off-brand, just fucking Gatorade or liquid IV powder thing to put in my water. Dude, difference between before I drank half of that little bottle of water with that shit in it and after was night and day. Like, that saved my ass. You can't be ignoring your electrolytes. And so you need to be ingesting all of that. Liquid IVs, Gatorades, whatever. That'll also make drinking regular water not as boring. Because you might be sweating out everything faster than you're taking it in. Electrolytes help you retain some water. A lot of carriers will alternate between regular water and Gatorade. I do that if I remember to have both on me. In a perfect world, I highly recommend that process. If you got money and are fancy, my favorite thing is to get like an ice cold Topo Chico or mineral water or sparkling water. That will again make it feel like less of a homework assignment. And those also have natural amount of sodium in them that you're not going to get from your regular drinking fountain water. Also, carriers will swear by alkaline water. I don't know what that means, but it's minerals.
It's water. So like water naturally is a pH neutral, right?
Yes.
Alkaline water is alkaline instead of acidic. It goes the opposite direction on the pH scale. And because our stomachs are more acidic naturally. The alkaline is supposed to be like beneficial in some ways. I'm not quite as well versed in the science of pH in the body, but alkaline water is supposed to be good for you in some kind of pH way.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and also, again, it breaks up the monotony of just water, water, water. The other thing we do down here all the time is freeze bottles of water or freeze a jug of water. I keep a gallon jug and of water in my ice, and I also freeze one solid that I fill up every night, throw in the freezer, grab it out of the freezer, because it's keep that in addition to your loadout of water. A lot of carriers will keep these and put the ice cold solid water bottle behind their, like, on your ass, on the small of your back when you're driving, and between your legs to lower your core temp. And then as that melts throughout the day, well, now you got ice cold water, buddy. And then other plain Jane water alternatives. I love coffee. I drink probably 2 pots of coffee a day, but that's with my 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons of water. You should avoid coffee and energy drinks and too much caffeine. I know it sucks. I'm trying to get better about it. If you're tired of Gatorade and regular water, you do got options. One of my favorites is the coconut LaCroix. I don't like other LaCroix, but I love the coconut one. You can do coconut water, Topo Chico. There's all sorts of different options for that. You're just taking in fluids all day. These are just some good options for the types of fluids you can take in, so you're not just feeling like you're doing homework. The next thing I want to talk about was lunch and snacks. It's hot, when it's hot out, I can't eat. I gain like 20 pounds in the winter because all I'm doing is eating when it's cold. When it's hot out, I can't. I have to force myself to eat, and I love food, right? So old timers, and I know you've heard. I was just listening to Corey's episode. Him talking about everyone loves pickles, and they swear by pickles. I do too now. And pickle brine, you just drink the pickle brine out of the jar. Did you just make a gag noise?
Yep. I can't stand pickles. Ugh.
Wow.
But I mean,
This
more power
not for
to you. Yeah.
It's also a lightweight snack because you're getting your salt, you're getting minerals, you're getting all these goodies to help you retain water, and you're giving your stomach something to digest, so you can avoid getting like nauseous and shit. Other things, I carry salted nuts like sunflower seeds or salted in shell peanuts because they're high in fat. They're high in natural fat that your body can process and feed on during the day, and calories that aren't going to make you feel weighted down, right? Because you don't want to, I love a good cheeseburger during a barbecue in the summer. A good plate of ribs during a barbecue in the summer, as long as I can just take a nap in the AC afterwards. Out on the route is not the time for that for me. Yeah. So salted nuts, even like sunflower seeds, because you can just be...
I personally get the bags of the Cars trail mix. It's got M&Ms for sugar. It's got raisins for fruit. It's got peanuts. It's got I think maybe sunflower seeds. It's got all kinds of stuff in it, and it's so good. And that's exactly what you need. That salt that comes from that, and the sugar and the fruit. Like, that's exactly what you need in the heat, is some kind of trail mix or something like that.
Yeah, and leather. And nuts are very heavy, high in fat, and have a lot of oils in them that can and protein that can keep your body going without fucking making you try and take a nap. And you mentioned fruit. So fruit is something I'm not a big fruit guy, but in the summer I eat a lot of fruit. Grapes, you can freeze clementines or throw clementines in your ice water. There's an old timer who sells this time of year. He sells watermelons out of the back of his pickup truck. He's halfway through my route. I'll buy a watermelon from him, throw it in the ice. By the time my ice is mostly melted, I pull that motherfucker out and tear into it, and it is glorious.
Blueberries and raspberries are my go-to.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, and there's freezer bars. You can I know people who will freeze like Cliff bars and stuff. There's also ones designed specifically for freezing. You just need to be giving your body some calories and fats and sugars and salts because man cannot live on bread alone, and neither can we subsist on just water to get through the day. These are different ways to get some calories and fats into your system to keep you going. There's also, I will occasionally pack a salad. I'm not a big salad guy, but in the summer, salad's great. Again, it has all those things your body needs, and these are ways to switch up. You don't got to do each thing every day. There's also electrolyte freezies, ice pops, whatever they call them where you are. I've seen Mountain Dew ones, icy ones, bomb pop ones, but look for ones that specifically have electrolytes in them. And just do me a favor, if you see a Baja Blast one, let me know because I love Baja Blast. Other thing, just sunscreen. I'm a redhead. I gotta wear 150 proof sunscreen on a full moon. So like, don't fuck around with skin cancer, man. You're not tougher than the sun. Just put it on. You got to reapply it through the day. It sucks. It's slimy, but you can find alternatives that aren't. And it doesn't matter how much it sucks. It doesn't suck as much as skin cancer. Take it from a redhead. You're not tougher than the sun, okay?
And you could also, and if you don't want to do sunscreen, just get you a nice big floppy Kentucky Derby hat. And just wear that everywhere. But you should probably still wear sunscreen, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that was my section on different things to eat and drink through the day to keep you cool. Now we got tips to get cool when the heat got hands. Mal, This one's you. You got it?
Yeah, I do. Because the heat do be having hands, I say, as I've been indoors all summer so far. But I'm going back to work in a few weeks, so I know. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm going back on the 7th. So, first of all, heat got hands. You feel no bueno. What do now? Find shade. Go get out of the sun, because you remember the sun is a deadly laser. Put ice on your wrists and cold wet towels on your head. So, and your elbows in your cooler or in ice water. So the reason why you want to target your wrist and your head and your elbows, anywhere where you can more easily access blood vessels, areas where there's less muscle on your skin, and more just like direct access, like your wrist and the inside of your elbow. There's not muscle there. It's literally just pure access to conductive cooling via cooling towels on your wrist and stuff. So
it cools the blood, and that cool blood gets to your heart and gets pumped throughout your body. It lowers your core temp.
Mm-hmm. So you can do frozen water bottles, you can do ice packs, ice wrapped in your towels, and it's not just those areas. You can do it on your neck, on your throat, the back of your neck, the front of your neck, whatever. Your armpits is a good spot too, if you can tolerate it. I cannot. But not everybody's got armpits of steel. Your groin. If you can get it like on the inside part of your thigh, where your thigh meets your downstairs mix-up, that's a good spot to try to cool yourself down. Your wrists, like we said. Your temples, right along your temples, there's a blood vessel there. If you sit there and try to find it, you can find it. It's right there on your temples. That's a good spot to try to cool yourself down on. And your little Pete's. Morris talked about how he's got that sock thing. I can't relate, but if it works for him, it works for him.
If you're overheating, dunk your feet in a bucket of ice water, and it'll help you cool down real fast.
I'll take your word for it. Next time, I'll if you're mid-swing, like you're on a hella long parking loop, and you get this feeling all of a sudden you need to cool off right the fuck now, you know that the customer 6 houses down has been real cool in the past. They've given you snacks before, their kids and all that, and go knock on their door if they're home. See if they can help you out. See if you can use their garden hose, or if they'll let you come inside for a moment. Technically, you're not supposed to go inside, but shut up. We're going to do it if we need to. You are deeply loved and appreciated as a letter carrier. If you need something, 9 times out of 10, your customers would help you. So just keep that in mind. You're not alone out there on the street. Another option is if anywhere on your route has a walk-in cooler, just hop over to the nearest 7-Eleven and hop in the beer cooler for a second, dude. Like, it literally helps if you're not too far gone already, just to go get in icy cold. Like, on my route, I've got a lady who runs a flower shop, and she has a cooler that she keeps her flowers in. I go to her place a lot of the time and just go sit in there because I know that nobody's going to come in there and be all weird when I'm in there lifting my shirt up and fanning myself. So yeah, try to find places like that. Restaurants have a walk-in cooler. Grocery stores have the cooling section. You can go see if you can just go open a grocery store door somewhere. But yeah, stuff like that. So, all right, Morris, I'm gonna let you run us home.
Okay, so now we got some of those tips and tricks, some miscellaneous ones. So one of the ones that I took for granted down here that someone remind me of. So our LLVs get hot as balls. Your ice might not last that long. One of the ways to make it last longer is you take 2 empty trays, turn them upside down to put them on that that heating iron that is the stovetop that is the floor of your LLV, and set your cooler on top of that. That way you have some space between your cooler and the skillet that is the bottom of the LLV. Right? That's an easy one. If you don't have a cooler or you forgot your cooler at home, I do this all the time because I got bad ADHD. Sometimes I pack my cooler and I forget it. I will take a bucket, just a tub, and I will swipe our maintenance guy will let me borrow a garbage bag, and I fill that up with ice from the ice maker. It's a cooler in a pinch. There's an old timer at my route. He's never bought a cooler. He just does that every day. That ice still in the Texas temperatures will still be ice water by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, it's not a perfect fix, but it's good in a pinch. Keep, like Mal was saying earlier, and we've talked about, keep multiple cooling towels and head wraps on you. Down here, a lot of what folk do is we just rotate them through our cooler. I'll throw one on my head, and with all that cold water on it at the beginning of a swing. When I get back to my truck at the end of the swing, I take it off. I dunk it down in the ice water, and I grab a fresh one, throw it on my head for the next swing, and just rotate them. Right.
Additionally, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I feel the need to reiterate this. If so, this winter, you're gonna find cooling towels so fucking cheap at like Dollar Generals and like the Walmart clearance sections. Make sure you snatch them bitches up this winter so that you will have them for next year and the years to come. Because they are kind of expensive in the summer, but like you can get them for like $5 in the winter.
Yeah, my granddad always said that umbrellas always cost more in the rain. If you're waiting till it's hot to buy hot weather gear, you're going to pay a full price. If you can get it for pennies on the dollar, like Mal was saying, if you get it in the winter. Okay. One of the things we it's not in the notes, but we talked about it, is your red book. If you know how to alter your red book and alter your line of travel, I make sure all of my walking is in the morning. At the hottest part of the day is when I have curbside or I have businesses that will let me hop in a cooler and cool off, right? So that's something to think about. Think about the logistics of your route, okay? Another thing when it comes to that, is keep a little notebook with you. You should already be doing this, just so you can record what's said in stand-up talks, record all the different things, so you have a paper trail if something ever becomes an issue like harassment or whatever. But this is something that's weather related. Keep that little notebook with you to record heat indexes and temperatures. So you got to back up if management decides to be shitty and come after you for stationary events or for, just taking care of yourself because they sit in air conditioning all day, sniffing their own farts and lying on telecoms while we actually work. keep track of the weather. Keep a thermometer in your.
Something else to note real quick. If you ever need to, you can get on the National Weather Service's website and you can see historic data from previous days.
Oh, okay. So if you haven't been keeping track of it?
Yep. So if you ever needed to see, like, there was a heat index or a heat illness grievance that I did last year, and I had to use historic data in that grievance to try to prove that kind of thing happened. So, the National Weather Service has that as a resource if you ever need it. If you ever encounter that and need to know where to find it, hit me up and I can tell you.
Awesome. Yeah, and we in that same vein, we already talked about the NIOSH OSHA app. You can use that to keep track of the stuff. One thing that I try and tell everybody on your 3996, if you're a CCA, you don't know how to fill out a 3996. If your route is my route's over by 60 minutes every day on average, I fill out a 3996 every day. When it's hot, fill out that 3996 even if your route isn't over, because you're covering your own ass. Me personally, everyone has their own little formula. Me personally, I add 20 minutes to my 3996 for every 5 to 10 degrees above 80 it is. If it's 95 degrees, I'm putting at least a half hour on my 3996. And here's the important part. You need to take those breaks. Do not say that you'll need to take those breaks and not take them, because then they will just use that against you. It is a safety concern to take your breaks. That's why we keep that's why we keep hammering on that. It's not sit around, fuck around, do a crossword time. It is literally a time for you to sit and take care of yourself and let your body acclimate to the weather and acclimate to just existing during heavy, strenuous times. If you put in for 30 minutes for heat on your 3996, which I definitely want to pressure you into doing, you need to take those breaks to take care of yourself, right? Don't wait until you desperately need it to cool off. We don't do that. It's the same with drinking water. If you wait until you're dehydrated to start drinking water, it's too late. Don't wait till you're thirsty. Take your breaks, even if you don't think you need one, but it's where you normally take a break during that day. Pull over in the shade, take 5 minutes, drink yourself some water, do what you got to do to just chill, relax, bring your heart rate down, bring your core temperature down, and then keep going. Don't wait until you need to cool off to stop to cool off. CCAs. Okay? That's very, very important. Put extra time on your 3996 if it's over 85. Heat index over 85. Put extra time on your 3996 and take that time. We do not want another fucking letter carrier to succumb to heat illness. Okay? And that's our responsibility. Okay? Force yourself to take your breaks and then some when temperatures are climbing. All right. This is probably the biggest one on this entire outline. This is my biggest one. Is never ever, don't you ever fucking dare turn down water when a customer asks you if you want or need some. I know that it's you're good, you're fine. No. Shut the fuck up. Take the water. I don't care if your cooler is full. I don't care if it's a nice day out. I don't care if you got to piss like a Russian racehorse. Take the water. You got water for your cooler that you might, because now you got extra water in your cooler that you might need later, or that you can give a CCA or a regular who comes to help take a swing off you. You know what I mean? You got that extra water. And also that customer loves you and wants to show it by doing what they can to help take care of you. They are trying to be nice. Let them be nice. If you turn it down, they might assume you never need it, or not offer it down the road when you actually fucking do. Or if someone's covering your route when you're off, they might think the letter carrier is fine, and that CCA might not have a cooler yet, right? Always take the water. They want to do it for you. You ever try to tell your grandma you aren't hungry when they offer you a plate of food? Same principle. It's easier to just take it. It's better for everyone if you just take it, right? So that is that. Now, to close out, we're going to get to our solidary soapbox. Thank you, everyone who sent in these tips and tricks. One of the things, oftentimes we talk about organizing CCAs and like, what can you do to make your job better, and what can you do to make your fellow carrier's job better. Some of this is just common sense. Talk to the other carriers on your route, and talk to the other carriers around you to get to know what areas. If you want to take the initiative, ask what gas stations let you use the bathroom, because there might not be anywhere on that route to use the bathroom. Make a list of all that. There are letter carrier friendly places to cool off, letter carrier friendly places to use the can, where there's public drinking fountains, right? Yeah. Make a list.
Let me hop in here and say, if you've been keeping up with the new contract, the new employee retention program specifically has a spot where if you're on a new assignment, you have the time and the opportunity to consult with another carrier about that assignment.
Yes.
So at that time, you can say, hey, where can I pee? Where can I get water? Where can I go cool down? Ask somebody else, because somebody else will be able to tell you that. And you are guaranteed that time to do so now.
Yeah. And the only other thing I would add to that is, so if you are an especially ambitious person in your office, and you can ask management. We have these scanners, they go off all the time for a dog alarm, right? How hard would it be to ask them to put in an alarm that says, hey, this golf course you're delivering mail next to has a public fountain 30 feet from this park and loop park spot? Can't we put that in the scanner? I'm not saying they'll do it. I don't know how that works, because I'm not a technical guy, but that should be possible. So ask those questions. Ask those questions. See if you can improve your office for the betterment of your fellows, right, and yourself. And I think with that, what do we got? Solidarity soapbox and then plugs, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So solidarity soapbox. We're talking about this, taking care of each other in the heat, right? So the easiest way, some of the easy just tips and tricks for that, like CCAs, you're all trauma bonded together, right? You guys all stick together anyway. Start a group chat with all the carriers you know. If you're not in one already, start one so you guys can kind of look out for each other. So you can be like, I know there's routes in my office that are all walking. They're all walking. I worry about the carriers on those routes. And now I in the group chat, I can just check in and be like, hey, yo, Beasley, you doing okay? How's 24 treating you? Right? Especially if someone is regularly talking in that group chat, but they're just quiet that day and it's a hot fucking day, check in on that motherfucker, right? And then carry extra waters. If you're a CCA, you're going to finish your part and then get sent to go help a regular out. You get to that regular's truck, he's an old timer, he doesn't have any fucking water, and he's being tough. Offer him a water. And if he says he doesn't need the water, give it to him anyway. Offer him ice cold water, right? And make sure your fellow CCAs are taking your breaks. CCAs are pressured all the time to not take their breaks. If you're taking your breaks, I fucking love you, dude. If your fellow CCAs are skipping through theirs, even if you can't bully them into taking them, bring it up over and over again anyway until they do, right? So yeah, we got check-ins, group chats. The other thing is I carry extra water on me and stuff, and I give it to Amazon drivers, UPS drivers, FedEx drivers. There's a lot of houseless folk in my neighborhood. I give them ice cold waters. Because I have had on a day where I was low on water, extra hot day, or I forgot my cooler or whatever, had a FedEx driver who I gave a water to a couple weeks before, stops and says, hey, you want a Gatorade? Throws me a Gatorade. That's fucking beautiful. I've had houseless folk on my route who I give waters to every now and then. Give me a heads up when there's some shady people on my route. Like, we are all in this shit together, and we keep us safe. We take care of each other, right? So that's kind of the thing. You want to be taking care of yourself. That's what we're focused on with heat safety. But just as important, we want to be taking care of each other. So that's kind of the soapbox, right? I think that's it. Yeah. So we're gonna plug a couple things. First off, I want to plug y'all. Thanks for hitting us up with all the tips and tricks. Couldn't have done it without you. If we missed anything, let us know. I know we're not going to be the last podcast to be talking about this shit. You guys are dope. I love you. Mal, you got a plug?
So if you guys want to hear more of us than you normally do, and in a live format where you can hear us fuck up a lot worse because we don't have our beautiful, amazing editor, we're going to be on Next Generation Carriers on July 13th at 8 p.m. alongside Corey Walton from Aid Arbitration. You know him, you love him. It's also going to be Alan Gigax and Michael. I love you, Michael. I don't know how to say your last name. From Classes of Male. I'm not going to try it. I'm going to butcher it. It'll be so bad. I'm not going to try to say his name. I can't do it. Additionally, Richie Ray from The Hot House with Richie Ray is going to be there. Joshua Schrum from Parcels of Knowledge. That's a new podcast that just came out. Yeah, he's great. I don't know if you all have listened to that one yet, if you're a avid podcaster, but you should check him out. Me and Morris are going to be there, and Elliot Simmons from On the Workroom Floor is going to be there.
Oh, I fucking love Elliot. Yeah, and the other plug is another next gen plug. So my bitch in Boston boys from the Massachusetts BFN, they've been going out and organizing CCAs on Amazon Sunday, like showing up with like donuts and dogs and like talking to cats and supporting them, which is something I have loudly advocated since like my second month at the post office. And I am so excited those guys are doing it. And because of their work, the BFN National Steering Committee took notice and has decided to declare a CCA summer where we're going to be trying to put more work into supporting CCAs, which is amazing. I love that shit. Full support. So check out the latest episode of Next Generation Carriers to hear about that plan. But more importantly, to hear about the rad shit that Presampieri and Towney, Miller, Carson, and Derek and the gang have been up to out in Boston, because that is beautiful work those Boston boys are doing, and I love you guys. I think that's it. We got a shit ton of resources and stuff. That's in the show notes, I believe.
Yeah. Well, all right. So good deal. We got another impromptu emergency episode done. Next time we'll probably be back with some of the stuff that we'd talked that we were gonna do, like conversion and scheduling and some other stuff. But this was more important, so we decided that this took precedent.
Yes.
So Cole and I are going on vacation next week, so it'll probably be another week or two before both of us are back on. Morris, of course, has free reign to do whatever the hell he wants to do.
Yeah, I think I'm going to talk to Presampieri and Towney and some of the Boston boys about what they're doing to organize CCAs, so we can try and make that more of a nationwide thing.
Yeah, by all means. I don't give a shit. Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'm in charge of the nut house now, baby.
Yeah. We're gonna go down to the Caribbean and be degenerates and get up to no good, probably. So
get a sunburn you want.
Yeah, pretty much. And it comes at a perfect time because I'm going back to work the week after, so it'll give me a chance to be outside in the heat. So, all right. Well, that's all she wrote. Thanks for listening to us talk at you. We'll be back around sometime soon with more for you. I love you. I appreciate you. Stay cool, I guess.
Yeah. Love you guys. Solidarity forever.